welcome to the Room of Requirement. Today I'm going to be talking about comparing spiritual practices themselves, such as meditation, ritual, energy work, and advanced esoteric methods. And I'm going to explain that. I thought this video would tie a lot into my two previous videos about how to choose a path and all of that. So, and building an actual, spiritual routine or ritual, so that you can have a little bit more information about how all this ties in together. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, not all practices do the same thing. In modern spirituality, it is common to treat practices as interchangeable tools. Meditation, ritual, prayer, breathwork, visualization, often approached as different ways to achieve the same result. But when you look closely at how these practices function, it becomes clear that they are not doing the same thing at all. Each one trains a different aspect of the mind. So here we go, tying this back into the psychological aspects of practice. Okay. So each one trains a different aspect of the mind, engaging the practitioner in a different way, and produces a different kind of transformation over time. If you do not understand what a practice is actually doing to you, you may use it incorrectly, expect the wrong results, or abandon it before it begins to work. Okay. So practices in and of themselves are training methods. So a spiritual practice is not simply something that you do, it is a method of training perception, attention, and response. Each practice emphasizes a different function. Some stabilize attention, some direct intention, some regulate the nervous system, and others engage in symbolic, emotional, or transpersonal layers of the psyche. When approached correctly, these practices can complement each other, but when approached without understanding, they can conflict, fragment attention, or produce confusion. To use them effectively, you must understand what each one of them is designed to develop. Meditation, training awareness and stability. Meditation stabilizes attention and develops non-reactive awareness of thought, emotion, and sensation. The goal is not to produce experience, but to change the relationship to the experience, gradually reducing identification with thought. It develops clarity and internal stillness over time and is best suited for those willing to work with subtlety and repetition. The challenge is the absence of immediate feedback, which leads many to believe nothing is happening when in reality foundational change is occurring. Ritual, ceremonial practice, training intention and structured engagement. Ritual directs attention through structured symbolic action, organizing perception and engaging deeper layers of the psyche. The goal is transformation through intentional interaction, refining focus and symbolic awareness. It is suited for those drawn to active engagement and structure, and develops precision and discipline. The challenge is attachments to experience or performance rather than internal change. Prayer or devotional practice, training surrender and alignment. Prayer engages the emotional dimension, orienting attention towards something beyond the self. The goal is alignment through surrender, softening resistance and increasing receptivity. It is suited for those drawn to meaning and connection. The challenge is passivity or externalization of responsibility if not balanced with internal work. Breathwork, energy practice, training regulation and internal sensitivity. Breathwork alters internal states through controlled breathing and attention. The goal is regulation and awareness of the body's internal dynamics. It is suited for those needing a tangible entry point and produces immediate effects. The challenge is mistaking intensity for transformation and overstimulating the system without integration. Visualization, imaginal practice, training internal perception. Visualization develops the ability to construct and engage with internal imagery. The goal is to align thought and perception through symbolic representation. It strengthens focus and internal coherence. The challenge is confusing imagination with objective meaning if it's not grounded. Mantra or sacred sound. Training mental rhythm. Mantra use repetition to stabilize and entrain the mind. The goal is to override the chaotic thinking and structured rhythm, so it is suited for those with active mental patterns and produces calm and coherence. The challenge is mechanical repetition without awareness. Alchemical practice, inner alchemy. Training deep transformation. Alchemy represents staged transformation of the self through symbolic processes of breakdown and refinement. The goal is lasting restructuring of identity and perception. It is suited for those willing to undergo deep internal change. The challenge is discomfort, as transformation requires dissolution of existing patterns. Pathworking. Training directed symbolic exploration. Pathworking allows structured exploration of symbolic systems through guided internal experience. The goal is directed understanding of archetypal structures. It is suited for those who can balance imagination with discipline. The challenge is maintaining direction without drifting into uncontrolled imagery. Invocation. Training identification with higher states. Invocation is the practice of aligning with and embodying a higher principle, archetype, or intelligence. Rather than observing or directing, the practitioner becomes receptive to and identifies with the invoked force. The goal is transformation through alignment, temporarily stepping into a refined state of being. This practice is suited for those with established focus and emotional stability, as it requires the ability to shift identity without losing coherence. Psychologically, it develops flexibility of identity and the capacity to access elevated states unintentionally. The primary challenge is inflation or misidentification. Without grounding, the practitioner may confuse temporary alignment with permanent realizations. When practiced correctly, it refines the ability to embody higher qualities without attachment. Evocation. So evocation and invocation are completely different. Invocation would be like you're doing ritual magic and you invoke the angels to come and be in space with you, and evocation is pushing these entities or intelligences out into the environment. Evocation differs from invocation in that the practitioner does not embody the force, but instead establishes a boundary and engages with it as something distinct. This is a highly structured and advanced practice rooted in ceremonial traditions. The goal is controlled interaction, developing clarity between self and others, internal and external, symbolic and experiential. This practice is suited for advanced practitioners with strong focus, discipline, and grounding. Psychologically, it sharpens discernment and strengthens the boundary of identity. The primary challenge is projection and misinterpretation. Without clarity, the practitioner may confuse internal content with external reality, and when practiced correctly, it develops precision and perception and interaction. Internal alchemy, energetic refinement. Training subtle transformation. Internal alchemy, found in traditions such as Taoism and advanced esoteric systems, works with subtle internal processes to refine energy, perception, and awareness over time. It is not symbolic in the same way as Western alchemy, but experiential and process-based. The goal is gradual transformation through refinement of internal states, leading to increased stability and coherence. This practice is suited for those who have already developed foundational stability and are capable of sustained attention over long periods of time. The primary challenge is subtlety. Progress is slow and often imperceptible in the moment, leading to doubt. When practiced correctly, it produces deep, stable transformation. So even when you're practicing these things, and it happens to everyone, it still happens to me to this day. You're doing the rituals and you're thinking, well, nothing's happening. What's going on? But what's happening is you're going through what I call integration phases where you feel like this disconnect. Not everything has to be super intense. Okay, so whenever this is happening, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. Okay. Tantric practice, training integration of all aspects of experience. Tantric practices originating in ancient India and Tibet are designed to integrate all aspects of experience, physical, emotional, mental, and energetic, into the path. Rather than rejecting or suppressing, Tantra transforms through inclusion and conscious engagement. The goal is unity through integration, dissolving separation between different aspects of experience. This practice is suited for advanced practitioners who can maintain awareness while engaging with intensity. It requires discipline, not indulgence. The primary challenge is misinterpretation. Without proper understanding, Tantra is often reduced to sensation or desire-based experience, losing its transformative structure. When practiced correctly, it integrates all layers of experience into a unified path. Cross-comparison, what each practice develops. Meditation develops awareness. Ritual develops intention. Prayer develops surrender. Breathwork develops regulation. Visualization develops internal perception. Mantra develops mental rhythm. Alchemy develops transformation. Pathworking develops symbolic understanding. Invocation develops identity flexibility. Evocation develops discernment. Internal alchemy develops subtle refinement. Tantra develops integration. Each practice trains a different faculty. They are not interchangeable. Many practitioners move between these practices expecting the same results, not realizing that each one is training a different aspect of the system. This creates confusion not because the practices are ineffective, but because they are misunderstood. So how to approach practice without fragmentation? The most effective approach is to establish a primary practice that builds stability, then layer additional practices intentionally as your capacity develops. Without foundation, advanced practices lead to instability, rather than growth. Final closing. Spiritual practices are not techniques to be collected. They are methods of development. When understood and applied correctly, they can be combined into a coherent path, but only if each is respected for its function. These practices you engage with are not just things that you do. They are methods that shape your perception, your awareness, and your development over time. And each one works on a different layer of your system depending on how it is applied and sustained. When you begin to understand that each practice is actually training within you, you stop approaching spirituality as a collection of techniques and start approaching it as a structured process of development, where each method has a purpose and a place. You do not need to do everything, and you do not need to rush into advanced practices, but you do need to build a foundation and remain consistent, because it is through that continuity that something begins to stabilize and something begins to refine, and what once felt like a separation practice begins to form into a coherent practice that shapes how you think, feel, and even exist in this world. Okay, you guys, hope you enjoyed this one. I'm really excited to bring this stuff to you. I feel like it's really going to help a lot of people right now with everything that's going on, from beginner, intermediate to end. So I know I have a wide range of people that are at different stages on their path. And so I'm really trying to help everyone as a whole. I kind of like to look at everything in a very Aquarian manner, which is as a big whole under a big umbrella. So anyway, okay, so we've got a lot more coming up, and I will see you guys next time around. Thank you.